Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to our Powernomics training. I hope everybody is feeling good tonight. I know I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling black power, black wealth, and all the things that make us amazing. And give me one second here. And I just finished, for those of you that are Prime members that do stock options, I just finished a very long Q&A for you guys. I'm going to text that out to you. So if you want to learn about options and you want to dig into what we're doing, just text the word options to the number 87948. So text options to 87948, and I will send out the recording of the Q&A as soon as I'm able to get it ready. All right. One thing I want to do is I want to talk about first off, as you guys know, we've been reading the book Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson. And largely the reason that we are doing that is because it's important that we understand our own history and realize that we don't need other people to teach us our history. I hope you agree with me on that. And also, understanding our history keeps us and our kids grounded. That's why I want to encourage you. If you like this kind of thing, if this is your jam, bring your kids. We really love to educate the whole family in the Black Business School. That's one of the things. The things that make the Black Business School different is at least three things. One, we educate the whole family, not just the individual, because it's about creating environment, community, and culture around economics, not just having one smart Negro who gets a good job. It's about everybody doing better. The second thing is we have the first ever Black financial therapy department in the Black Business School, where we've got leading researchers who've helped us to uncover the link between things like trauma, childhood trauma, and investing decisions. You'd be amazed at how little academic research has been done on Black financial psychology. It's sad, and it makes sense though. Like, it makes sense to know why so many people are struggling because they don't even study what's going on with Black people. They don't care, right? So, but then again, is it their job to care, or is it our job to care, right? I'd say it's our job to care. We should be the ones who care, and not really care if other people care or not. I know I don't care if they care. And so the other thing, the other thing that we do that's unique is we are kind of like specialists in Black wealth. Anything that's Black wealth related, we are the best on earth at that. There's no institution on the planet that we know of that focuses that much on Black people all the time in everything that they do. And so we did that because I learned that a long time ago when I was working on my PhD, that Black wealth is not the same as white wealth. It's not the same as Asian wealth. It's not the same as Hispanic wealth. It's not the same as Arab wealth. It's not the same as Jewish wealth. There are different dynamics, different variables, different hurdles, different obstacles, different issues, and also different opportunities, right? So I would argue that in our community, we've got really a great opportunity to really take the lead in this thing. Like, I don't think I know that we, as a community, can actually lead the nation when it comes, or lead the world when it comes to economic thinking. We just have to be really aggressive with it. We can't be scared. We can't be punks. We can't be weak. We have to be strong. We have to be focused. We have to go hard. We have to really make this as important for us as playing basketball, playing football, twerking, whatever, rapping, whatever it is, whatever other stuff that we take seriously. We have to take ourselves seriously. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about really quickly, since we're talking about Black economics, is there's this lady named Tabitha Brown, who I just love. Has anybody ever seen Tabitha Brown? She's kind of a friend of a friend. My friend Tiara KJ Williams, who is AKA Miss Black Hollywood, or Karma J. She has released an album this year. She happened to be friends with Tabitha back when Tabitha used to. I think she said Tabitha lived in her car or something like that. I mean, was really struggling, or maybe it wasn't living in the car, driving Uber Eats, or it was something like that. But anyway, she was telling me about Tabitha, and I looked her up, and I was really impressed with everything she's doing. And one of the things that I was thinking about as we're starting our Powernomics training is what's going on with Tabitha in terms of the backlash that she got over the Target boycott. Did anybody see what was kind of happening where, from what I was seeing, it looked like she was saying she had to increase her security because she was getting so many people that were really attacking her and threatening her and trying to scare her because she was trying to provide a nuanced way of viewing the whole Target DEI situation. Did anybody see that? How many of y'all saw that? Or am I the only person that just scrolls around the internet looking to see what people are talking about? I like to see what conversations are happening. And so Tabitha, kind of unfortunately, was in this awkward position of trying to defend what she was doing with Target. She had a good partnership with Target, apparently, and I don't know what the status of it is. I think that it's over now, but they were giving her a really hard time about it, and I didn't like that at all. I thought that was wrong. I understand people feeling how they feel, but I think that beating up on her as a woman who, okay, by the way, oh, can y'all hear me? Okay, somebody says sound. Can y'all hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes. Irma says she can't hear me. Give me a quick yes if you can hear me. I'm self-conscious. Okay. All right, I see yeses. So I'm sorry, Irma. Try to turn your volume up. That might help. Um, and so Tabitha was kind of getting a lot of pushback from people because of her role with Target, and I understand people disagreeing with her. What I didn't really like though was was sort of this mistreatment of her. And one of the things I want to point out to you, if you want to understand what's going on with that Target DEI boycott, which I think is fine if you support it, is I found it one thing that really confused me. Let me just say this, is I didn't understand um, why Target per se, like why just Target, right? Did you all know, like, do you know that if you were to look up the number of companies that cut their DEI programs after Trump got elected, it's like over, I think it's like over 100 companies. Accenture, Verizon, IBM, Qualcomm, McDonald's, Boeing, Booz Allen Hamilton, Citigroup, CNN, Deloitte, Amtrak, Walmart, Ford, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Meta, Amazon, Google, Target, that's one of them obviously, Toyota, Disney, PepsiCo, Caterpillar, and I could keep going. I could keep going. There's a bunch of companies out here. So here's the deal. Why Target? I mean, I don't know if anybody can help me understand that. And I'm wondering, like, okay, maybe it was a matter of making an example out of Target, right? Like, okay, we're going to show you black economic power. We're going to show you how much money we spend, and we're going to kick you down. And that's fine. I mean, and Target to some extent was a peculiar target because Target is was already struggling before the boycott began. Target's management's terrible. They just have not done a good job of doing anything. They were getting bad analyst reports before the boycott started, um, because their stock used to be like 250, 260, and then it dropped down to like 140, 130. So the investors were already angry, and then the boycott only made it worse, right? So now the stock is, I think, less than 100, and that's what it is. But the thing about it though was, I still didn't understand why just Target, and so. One of the things that I think was interesting is, and this is why I'm bringing it up, twofold. One is I think that there's something going on here that's a little deeper than just a boycott. I think that there are individuals who benefit from corporate shakedowns. I think that if they like, so if you let a company, if you scare the hell out of a company and let them know that you got the power to control black people, then what happens is you can call that person on the phone and they'll say, I want to work with you to make this better. And so they say, hey, I've got this conference coming. I need you to write $100,000 check, or I need to be on your board. I still remember this actually. Now that I think about it, let me go back. Let me get my brain right. This was a scenario years ago where I was involved with Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew and Lil Wayne had conspired to do something that was just absolutely ridiculous. It was nothing but coonery and buffoonery. And Lil Wayne had and Tyler the Creator, another rapper, was involved. And so basically they'd made this Mountain Dew commercial that was like the most racist, ridiculous piece of crap I'd ever seen. But that was after Lil Wayne had made a song where he made a joke about Emmett Till that was highly inappropriate, and the black community was upset about it. So the Till family reached out to me. Their representative called me and asked me to help, and I said sure. And I remember talking to Jesse Jackson's people about it, and so I said, I think the best way to get their attention would be to get their corporate sponsor, right? Don't talk to the puppet. You talk to the puppet master, right? You don't talk to the puppets don't have a brain. The puppets just do what the master tells them. And I said, as an expert in finances, I can tell you that whoever's writing the checks is the person you want to talk to. Don't talk to them because they're not going to listen to you. So I said, Mountain Dew is sponsoring their tour. I think Lil Wayne and T.I. were going to go on a world tour. I said, let's talk to Mountain Dew. Let's hit them up. And so what happened was it worked basically. You can go Google it. It all happened a few years ago, and they canceled the tour. And Lil Wayne was apologizing on stage and everything and trying to make it go away, but it didn't work. And I didn't have a particular issue with him or the rapper Tyler the Creator. I had an issue with just this idea of hip hop artists feeling that they can comfortably disrespect the black community and ignore the black community because they're getting money from white people. That drives me insane. You'd be amazed how often we are quick to put a black person on a pedestal because white people love them more than we do, right? And because there's sort of this inherent admiration we have for our oppressor, where we love people more because they're accepted by white people than we do if they're accepted by black people, right? Because money is it's a costume. Money can be a cloak. It can cover up bad behavior. It can cover up unethical choices. It can cover up just low quality character, right? So we will look at somebody and say, "Oh my God, you're a hero. You're black excellence because you have money." And I can tell you, as a person who studies money for a living, that's a very bad idea. Money is the great deceiver. Money will suck you in and chew you up and spit you out like the devil himself if you're not careful. So why am I bringing this up? Well, we, excuse me, when we put that pressure on Mountain Dew, it worked, and we were able to get progress with the company. Next thing I know, I remember I didn't hear from anybody. I don't even look to hear from people. I wasn't trying to invoke myself into the process, right? There's always like this sort of repair process after a protest happens and the corporation gets shaken up. They end up after the shake up happens, and there's the shakedown. And that's where the civil rights superstars will pop up and say, hey, we want you to write a check, and writing a check will make everything go away. And I remember Reverend Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton having a press conference about the Mountain Dew thing. I wasn't part of the press conference, but I didn't ask to be, right? It wasn't like they shut me out. It was like I didn't try to get involved. But I remember watching what happened. I remember them putting Al Sharpton on some kind of diversity board, right, as a way to kind of calm it all down. And I remember thinking, what does Al Sharpton have to do with any of this? He didn't even help with any of this stuff. Like I wrote the article that got their attention and got everything to happen, but not that I wanted it for myself, but I wanted to see. I was like, well, I mean, maybe talk on the phone and I can tell you what I think you can do with some money in order to really help the black community. But I just, in that experience, I got the opportunity to see how these things go, right? And so when I look at the boycott with Target, I think about what I saw with Mountain Dew. It looks like kind of the same thing because there's no logical reason. When 150 companies have cut their DEI programs, there's no logical reason to pick one company and say somehow that this company bringing back their DEI program is going to make a significant difference to anybody, right? You have a systematic issue and you're approaching it in a very idiosyncratic, specific kind of way, which in my view only will give you the gift of symbolism. It will also only give you the gift of certain symbolic figureheads benefiting. The whole community doesn't benefit from any of this. And even on a broader systematic level, there's very little evidence to show that DEI programs have ever really increased black wealth at all. So the symbolism can matter. I'm not saying the symbolism doesn't matter at all. I'm saying though, I think that when I was seeing what they were doing to poor Tabitha Brown, I said, leave that lady alone. Let that lady do her thing. Let her, if she chooses to disagree or chooses to, move forward in the way that she finds appropriate, let her do that. Or at the very least, maybe ask her to get involved in something that's truly going to make a massive difference, right? Like, so I would love to see Tabitha maybe on a council of black influencers. I'd be happy to offer my support and guidance that's going to help go get these corporations collectively and force them to help us raise $500 million to support black businesses. I think that would be great, right? The thing is that positive energy typically works better than negative energy. Being sitting back hating on what somebody else is doing usually will never help you to advance your life. Tell me if you agree with that. I think if you're sitting back watching what somebody else has and getting mad about it or disrupting what somebody else has going on, that has rarely, in my experience, ever been something that I've seen lead to progress in your life. It leads to relative progress because now they're doing bad just like you. And sure, the destruction of Target is almost inevitable. They're destroying themselves. They don't even need our help. But sure, this is accelerating the process. But I need to ask you that very serious question of, are we solving a problem or are we simply venting a frustration? Right? Are we really fixing something, or are we simply just getting mad and marching and praying and screaming and hollering and then giving ourselves something to celebrate? Which, if you want something to celebrate, here's what you can celebrate. Go look at Target's stock price. Target's stock price has dropped quite a lot since the boycott. So let me see. What was the date? Because anybody remember? Somebody give me the date that the boycott started. Does anybody remember what month it started? I want to let me see here. I'm going to try to see if I can find the date here. As I find the stock price, the internet's this kind of slow. All right. All right. So let me pull up Target stock price. And while I pull up the stock price, if somebody could give me the date that the boycott started, that would be helpful. And then I can look in the chat and find that information because y'all smart. Y'all good at finding stuff. And by the way, hey Amani, Amani's in the chat. Amani, no, November 27th isn't when it started. Thank you, Richard, though. Good try. But November 27th, that was last week. I want to know when did Jamal Bryant and crew start boycotting Targets? Anybody know? I think it was February or something like that. So let me share my screen, and if I see the date come up, I'll acknowledge it. But just to save your time, let me go and pull it up. March 5th. Okay, thank you, Amani and Douglas. I appreciate that. All right, so let's look here. Let's look at Target stock price since March 5th. Okay. So Target's up a little bit today. This week it's actually done decently well. Year to date, it's down. It's a crappy stock, just as an FYI. March 5th is exactly here. So on March 5th, the stock price was $116 per share. 116. Since March 5th, it's dropped from 116 down to 90. Good. I think that the boycott can take credit for that continuous decline in the stock price. Um, the translation, let me see. I think that that's about a fourth of the price. So that's about $10 billion in economic losses in terms of what Target shareholders are going to lose in terms of the value of the stock. Now, the stock could go back up, but this stock has really been hit pretty hard. And the debate is on as to whether or not they can even keep up with Amazon and Walmart and all that. So, but keep that number in your head, 116. Now, I want you to look at the 5 year trajectory of the stock. Well, if you look at the 5 year trajectory and you compare 116, you can look back here and go to 2021. This stock was at $254. Do you see that? How many of y'all see that on the chart? 254. So this stock used to be a $200+ stock that was down to 116. And then the boycott began and it dropped further down to $90. So the shareholders were pissed off long before the boycott started. Like this only just made things worse because this company was just making really bad decisions all along. So that's something to celebrate, right? So I think anybody who wants to argue was the boycott successful and effective, I would say, yeah, it looks like y'all did a good job. Good job. Good job. Okay. So now I got to ask another question then that I'm curious about is like, okay, now what? What I mean, okay, we brought Target to its knees. Um, hmm. Let me ask you this. Do you think that you think that those 103 companies, you think these other companies, you think Adobe, Airbnb, Alaska Airlines, Albertsons, Alphabet, Amazon, American Airlines, American Express, Amtrak, Apple, AT&T, that's just the companies under the letter A who roll back their DEI programs. Right? That's just the A's. I ain't got to the B, C's, D's. So just though, do you think that any of those companies, yes or no, do you think any of those companies are going to say, damn, look at what they did to Target, yo. We got to go, man. These black people, they gonna come get us next. We better implement DEI immediately. We better go hire as many black people as we can immediately. We need to go invest in their schools and support their businesses and help them. Like really, I mean, I'm not making fun of it. I'm asking you a question. Do you really think that they're gonna change their behavior as a result of this? Sure, they saw it. Yeah, absolutely. They're sitting around, they're like, damn, like he got his ass kicked. They're like watching the guy get beat up, and they're like, man, I don't want to get beat up like that. But there's like 100 of them. So and they know that this is like one fight. They watch the weak kid, the weakling, the kid that's like weighs 110 pounds get beat up and he's bloody and laid on the concrete. But his buddies, he's got 8 friends, 10 friends on the football team that are all over 200 pounds, full of muscle. Remember, Target was the weakling. You can't bully Amazon like that. You can't bully Walmart. Walmart, Target spends $4 billion a year on CapEx to try to keep up with AI. Amazon spends $124 billion a year on CapEx. So Amazon is sitting here at 280 pounds, 6'5", 280 pounds, watching the 120-pound weakling get beat up, and they're like, damn, wow, they're really mad at him. And he's sitting with all his buddies on the football team. There's like 60 of them. Do you really think that they're going to feel threatened by what they just saw? Do you really think they're going to change a damn thing? Like, no, they're going to walk right past the fight. They're going to say, wow, that was a good fight to watch. Wow, that was crazy. And I'm not saying that the boycott was not effective. I'm not saying that there can't be that you can't say, okay, we achieved the goal, but I really am curious. about like where's the benefit there other than just being able to say, hooray, look at what we did. And so let's say that with Target said, man, gosh, we got it. We miscalculated. We're really sorry. We're gonna meet with Pastor Jamal Bryant immediately and bring Roland Martin in here too. We need to just talk to all these guys and we need to figure out how to make it right. What do you think is gonna happen in that meeting? Like what do you think that the 120-pound weakling Target can really do that's going to really make a difference in this whole massive systematic fight that we have right now with black economics, black wealth declining, DEI, everything else. Like, what do you think they not only will they probably not do much, they're not going to try to do much, and they can't do much. So they're not going to try to do much, partly because they don't want to, but partly because they can't. So because what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, which is easier? For us to engage in some sort of multi-billion-dollar initiative that's really going to transform the black community, or for us to just break Jamal Bryant off a check for $250,000 so that his church is flossing and shiny. And there's nothing wrong with nothing against his church at all. But I'm just saying this is what happens. Um, there was a massive mega merger years ago. I forget. I think it was NBC Universal. You can Google this. The facts are fuzzy. This is all the ancient history for some people. This is back in the old days, 2012, 2013. I was doing the same thing every day back then that I'm doing right now. And I remember that this merger was going to happen, and it was like a $50 billion merger. And they literally went and they were like, okay, we have a diversity issue. So they went to Al Sharpton, wrote him a check that was about big enough for him to buy 8 buckets of chicken. And they got his cosign. They got him to go tell the black community that the merger was okay and that they've satisfied all diversity requirements and they can proceed and go get their $50 billion. And I think that this model, not only is it problematic, but it reeks of corruption. It's highly ineffective. You can't tell me it's effective because you can't show me the results. You can get mad at what I'm saying. You can get mad at me for saying that it's ineffective because I'm okay with being the asshole in the room who says the thing that everybody else is thinking, or maybe they haven't thought about it, but I'm that guy. I'm okay with that. But I need you to show me the results. And I just don't understand this. So I would say, um, so number one, I like Tabitha Brown. I think she's cool. I think she's pro-black. She got the black husband, and she's representing in the best way that she knows how. I like the lady. I just do. Maybe one day I'll meet her. I have a lot of respect for her. So people should leave her alone. If you want to waste your time on these shenanigans, let me stop. That was mean. If you want to spend your time on these issues, then that's your right to do that. Um, but I think that there are other areas where an equally strong rallying cry can be built around them that will actually achieve a real and meaningful result. For example, um, Christmas is coming. I think a rallying cry that says, instead of just buying toys for our kids, we're going to buy them shares of stock. That will achieve a meaningful and measurable result that will have a lasting impact on generational wealth long after we're dead. So can I get your agreement that you will consider this Christmas buying some shares of stock for the kid? You ain't got to give it to them you ain't got to put it in their name, put it in your name, but you're buying it so that you can be secure, so you can make them security. See, to give security to another person, you got to be secure yourself. When I do my convention, when we do the All Black National Convention every year, don't try to run up on me with a weapon because I got a wonderful guy named Khalil from the Nation of Islam who will take you out in a country second. And Khalil he's big, he's strong, he knows martial arts, he knows how to take care of himself. He keeps me secure because he's secure, right? So the person providing the security needs to be secure themselves. So I want Khalil to keep himself safe so he can keep everybody else safe. So you have to keep yourself safe. Take care of yourself first. Put the money in your account first. Build your portfolio first. But then what you're going to do is you're going to preserve that portfolio so that when you get finished having access to that capital, you can pass it to the children and they'll be able to have access to your capital too. That's what they call generational wealth. Generational wealth is the intergenerational transfer of financial security from one person to another. There is no reason that security should be depleted. That security should grow. It should not deplete, but it requires a certain mindset. So if you get in the habit at Christmas of saying, "Hey, I'm going to buy my kids stock in addition to the toys, and then I'm going to buy them stock again and again and again and again and again and again and again, because I love my kid more than I love my car." The average new car note is $700 a year. Lots of Negroes driving around with new cars, but no money in their investment accounts. That's not appropriate anymore. That's very 1975. We're not doing that anymore, right? And so you fill the portfolio up, and then you get the nice car. And so the amount you spend on that car, you also put that same amount into the family fund. And then you do that for a couple of decades, 20, 25 years. By the time that kid's 25, they've got six, seven, $800,000 liquid that they can access when they need it. But it's not their money. It's in the family trust. It's not their money. It's in the family trust. It's not their money. It's in the family trust. But they know that they don't have to go beg institutions to give them opportunities because they've got an institution in their house. If they want a job, they got a job in their house. If they want assets, they got assets in their house. If they need a bank, they got a bank in their house. Mama's the bank, daddy's the bank, the family's the bank. That's the model. That's the model that makes a difference. That's the model that changes everything. A lot of you in here right now, tell me, give me a yes in the comments for those that are new who still don't believe, think this is a bunch of bullshit. Give me a yes in the comments if you have followed any of the stuff that we've been talking about for years and it's making a real difference in your life. I'm talking about real difference. Like you can pay bills better, you're more secure, you feel more comfortable financially, you got a better plan, the family's happier, the kids are safer. Tell me, give me a yes, give me a yes, I'd like to hear the yeses because that charges my battery, that puts the battery in my back because I'm tired of getting mad and screaming and hollering and getting no results. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of it. I hate black leadership half the damn time. I don't hate the people. I just hate the damn process. It's stupid. It's the dumbest crock of shit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm sorry. I'm getting angry and I'm being disrespectful deliberately because this process is disrespectful. I'm responding to disrespect with more disrespect. I'm not saying that the Target boycott is all bad. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you got to show me some tangibles. What's the tangible result here? You know, if not, don't waste my time and don't waste my energy. Don't waste my attention. That's my 2 cents. Leave Tabitha Brown alone. That lady's good at what she does. Shout out to Tabitha Brown. She's educating babies. Come on now. That's more important than all this other crap people are doing. All right. I'm going to start reading from the book now. 'Cause I didn't know I was going to get into it. I apologize. Y'all know I'm a little weird. All right, so I'm reading Dr. Claude Anderson books. The book is called Dirty Little Secrets. His website is powernomics.com. I hope you will go and support this wonderful man. Christmas is coming. Maybe that's a good time to buy some Dr. Anderson books. That would be really cool. Those would be great gifts for the kids. My wife and I bought a bunch of them and gave them away at our wedding. And so do your thing. So powernomics.com is the website. Also, I wanted to invite you all to share your story as well. I realized that we didn't. I put a link in the comments. If you have a story where the things that we've been doing has transformed your life, or something you're doing in your family, we are one of the key educational spaces for Black people in the sense that I want you to educate each other. I want you to share best practices. The same way in academia we have conferences and the smartest people in the world would come together and share ideas, whether it's artificial intelligence or medicine or whatever. I want to have a think tank for Black wealth, and the think tank is you. A lot of you are implementing, because I talk to you in the airport, I see you on the streets, I see you at the convention, things like that, and you're telling me these remarkable stories, and I didn't do my job. I screwed up because I wasn't really documenting and sharing that as much as I should. So we formalized this process. That link that's in the comments, it just takes a second. If you can go in and like just tell us what you're doing, tell us your story, tell us the transformation. Like, okay, I started investing in 2018, and I bought my first house. Me and my family started a business, or we have family business meetings. My child is 10 years old and they know all about the stock market. Like, whatever it is, no, there's no achievement that's too small. I came out after I came out of prison. I never went back because for the first time I can make my own money. Like, I want to hear all the stories, good and bad. We made our first $10 million, and now our family has, we own 20 buildings. Like I want to hear all those stories, right? And what I'm going to do is in Money in the Morning, I want to start sharing those stories because I think that it's important. As I expect tangibles in other spaces, I realize maybe we should deliver tangibles as well. So that's something I'd like to, if you could do that for me, that would be awesome. Or do that for all of us, right? And what I'll do is in the class, I'll just read some of them periodically. So the link is right there in the comments. Feel free to grab it. All right. So Dr. Anderson has on page 216 in his book Dirty Little Secrets, he's talking about organized crime here, and he says that there's a glass ceiling on organized crime. I didn't know that. I didn't know if is there a DEI program in the mafia? Organized crime, like politics and business, was a microcosm of American society and provided a path to mainstream society for most groups. Crime was organized with and through legitimate businesses beginning in the 1930s. Black crime was disorganized and outside of mainstream society. It lacked a business structure and was therefore relegated to blue collar or the lowest level of crime against person and property. In the 1930s, however, a few blacks started to form their own gambling called playing the numbers. This form of illegal gambling was accepted in black communities as an alternative economic system. Black gangs did reasonably well until Italian mobsters found out how well they were doing. Then the Italian mobsters moved the blacks out. Now, playing the numbers has gone legit or mainstream. Today, it is called the lottery, and blacks spend heavily to purchase lottery tickets. Now, instead of the mob operating an alternative income system in black communities, it is state governments that siphon those dollars from black citizens into state coffers. Although blacks are heavy lottery players, they do not control the game's employment or the revenue flow. Blacks' lack of political and economic cohesiveness and muscle has always left them vulnerable to takeovers by others. Ethnic control of criminal activities produced more than mere economic impact. It gave them greater control over their culture, employment opportunities, political clout, as well as social mobility and acceptance. There was an aura of acceptance for the Irish, Jews, and Italians when they participated in organized crime. The gang communities created economic and political opportunities. The communities accepted them and their gifts. Hmm. So it sounds like Dr. Anderson saying that basically, uh, because of the lack of organization and structure, a lot of black economic models become very vulnerable, and that so that allows the Italians to come in and take things because they're more organized, or the government to come and take something over and say, okay, you're making too much money here. You're not grown up enough to control this much money, so we're going to just take this from you. And that is an issue, right? And this is where understanding risk management and diversification comes into play, and wealth protection. Wealth protection has to be essential. And it has to be done through those tools like diversification or buy and hold investing or partnerships, things like that. This is another reason why I'll always be a big advocate of partnering with the diaspora. I'm not here to, I will never debate a person about whether or not we should unify with Africa when appropriate. I know that sometimes people talk about that, and I think somehow they think if you're foundational Black American, you shouldn't connect with Africa. No, I connect with Africa, and I'm still foundation Black American, and I think that there's no point in having that debate. I'm just not going to have it. And so ultimately, in fact, we're going to South Africa in May. If you want to take, it's an economic trip. It's kind of a convoy we're going to take over there and make a diplomatic trip, but also have some fun. And so if you want to join us, you can text the word travel to the number 87948. So text travel to 87948, or you can visit b1voyages.com. Be the number one voyages.com. We're going to go in May. All right. So Dr. Anderson is really speaking as well about how these unified groups are forming some sort of group or gang, if you will, allows you to protect your wealth more effectively. So your first gang is your family, and so the goal of the government is to break up the gang. The goal of the government is always to break up the gang. The government is always threatened by gangs because the government is a type of gang. The Democrats over here, the Republicans over here, the Crips and the Bloods, Blues and Reds, and all that stuff, right? And so what I would encourage you to do is understand family as a form of wealth protection because that's your original economic gang. I wrote about that a lot in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So feel free to take a look at that. It says here, the most recognized black woman. No racial image or food trademark has ever equaled Aunt Jemima in a national recognition, popularity, or longevity contest. Her clean, ready to serve with a crisp smile image, along with her intuitive knowledge and distinctively Southern manners, was a successful advertising creation that epitomized black servility. In addition, it was an example of racial exploitation. According to the white version, the Aunt Jemima story began in St. Joseph, Missouri in 1888 when Chris Ruff, an editorial writer for the St. Joseph Gazette, and Charles Underwood, a friend in the milling business, purchased an existing mill along the Black Snake Creek and formed the Pearl Milling Company. The two partners developed the self-rising pancake flour. The name Aunt Jemima came from a cakewalk tune heard by Rut at a minstrel show. The character who was performing was costumed in an apron and a bandana in the tradition of Southern cooks. And so Aunt Jemima began. Rutt and Underwood organized their company and registered the Aunt Jemima trademark. However, their business did not do well. By 1890, without merchandising success and no capital, the company faltered. Within a few months, the partners reorganized into the Aunt Jemima Manufacturing Company under the Underwood's brother Bert as financier and promoter. The business failed under Bert, too. Rutt returned to the Gazette, and Charles Underwood found employment with R.T. Davis Milling Company, the largest miller in St. Joseph. Shortly thereafter, Davis purchased the recipe and set out to improve the product and promote the product. With the addition of rice flour and corn sugar to improve the flavor and the addition of powdered milk for simplicity, the mix was ready for promotion. Who knew that there was so much happening with this Aunt Jemima store? Davis envisioned a living Aunt Jemima to demonstrate the self-rising pancake flour and to bring the trademark to life. Bring it to life they did with friendly 59-year-old Nancy Green, born a slave on a plantation in Montgomery County, Kentucky. Kentucky, I'm from Kentucky. She became the first Aunt Jemima in the flesh. How many of y'all knew this? Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all knew who the original Aunt Jemima was? Her name is Nancy Green. Did anybody learn? Anybody know that? Patricia knew it. Because Patricia's smart. Richard's like me. He didn't know. Ray Daniel knew. Okay. Terrence Tech no. Okay. The fact she's from Kentucky is kind of cool. I didn't know Aunt Jemima because we got Colonel Sanders. That's what they promoted. They never told. They told us about Colonel Sanders in school. They didn't tell us about Aunt Jemima. I want to know about that too. All right, so she became the first Aunt Jemima in the flesh. For more than 30 years, she presided at promotional events for Davis across the country, including the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Heard Wright, advertising manager for Aunt Jemima, accompanied Davis and Green to various fairs. Wow. Over the course of the next generation, the company's ownership went through several changes, but caught another wind when Quaker Oats took it over. Nancy Green, the original Aunt Jemima, died September 24th, 1923, after being struck by a car in Chicago. Wow, that's sad. Green was replaced by a succession of large black females who exhibited the appropriate personal qualities. The picture on the cartons also changed through the years. The bandana was replaced by a headband, then the headband was replaced by a soft, curly, gray streaked hair, pearl earrings, and a new lace collar. Today, Aunt Jemima's face and famous pancakes are as much as of an American institution as apple pie. How about that? Okay. Shout out to Aunt Jemima. Nancy Green. Race and class in the bathroom. Until the mid 1800s, there were few so-called bathrooms or indoor personal hygiene amenities. The bathroom first appeared in America around 1791 and was clearly a wonder that only the rich and primarily white enjoyed. So before 1791, they had no bathrooms. So I guess they would just pee on the side of the building and stuff and do everything else. Woods and outhouses served private needs in rural areas, while city dwellers found comfort in alleys, dark streets, and chamber pots. Alleys, dark streets, and chamber pots. Okay. Porcelain or metal chamber pots or slop jars were commonly found in the bedrooms or under the beds. That's just nasty. Lewis, no wonder they had disease. What was it? Neil deGrasse Tyson was explaining how before like 1850, human beings didn't live to the age of they half of them died at the age of 35. And I think he said thousands of years before, half of them were dead by 30. So literally up until about 1850, 1860, when science really kind of advanced, the lifespan was really short. So half of society died by 35 years old. And he says that the lifespan increased primarily due to science, which I agree with. I think the way would disagree, where I would challenge him is I'd say, well, yeah, but don't make the assumption that science is always helpful. Science can also harm people too. But I guess where science would also play a role is I can only imagine how many diseases and viruses would be floating around when you've got doo-doo pots under your bed, right? That's just nasty. So yeah. So check this out. So it says Louis Philippe, who became king of France, reported with dismay that while on a trip through the United States in 1797, he asked for a chamber pot, and his host told him there were none available. but invited him to, quote, make free use of the window. White people crazy. All right, an offer he politely turned down. It was not until the 1820s that toilets began a slow move indoors. Like everything else, bathrooms trickled down to blacks last. Blacks, especially those living in the Deep South, were the last to find bathroom comforts. Prior to the 1950s and the Civil Rights Movement, the majority of Southern blacks still used private outhouses and segregated public facilities that reflected racial inequalities. Although toilet paper first appeared around 1880, well into the early 1950s, black outhouses typically contained old newspapers, store catalogs, and corn cobs as an alternative to toilet paper. For most blacks in the South, toilet paper was relatively new and rare until after World War II. Throughout history, levels of hygiene and social sophistication were a direct reflection of racial inequalities and classism. So there we go. So that's the doo-doo chapter. All right. Um Black humor. This is a dialogue exchange between a black and a white in 1868. White Cottonfield overseer asked, Sam, what makes your nose so flat? Sam, the black tenant farmer, answered, Don't know, boss, but I figured it's to keep me from sticking it into other people's business. That's funny. This is in the book. I'm just reading what's here. All right. Gagged for gossiping. During slavery, plantation slaves in household service were skilled at listening, reporting, pilfering, signifying, and gossiping. The grapevine from the master's house to the slave cabins from plantation to plantation were critical message channels for sharing needed items as well as information. The information the household slaves circulated often assisted other blacks to run away or plan slave uprisings. All slaveholders were concerned about slaves who spied and passed on information, especially through gossiping. For slaves, gossiping was a form of communication, entertainment, and fun. Some masters tried to stop gossiping by associating it with pain and suffering. To keep slaves from gossiping and talking about white folks' business, a special gagging device was invented and sold to owners who had habitual gossipers or a female servant with a loose tongue. Ooh, wow. Okay. I gotta show y'all this. Oh my God. Oh Lord, Lord Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna take a picture of this and I'm gonna load this to my Instagram and then I'm gonna share my screen. This is the quickest way I can show you. This is crazy. This is wild. This is the device that is used to control like whether or not slaves can talk. I'm gonna put it on my Instagram. I'm gonna share my screen. So give me your patience for 1 second if you could. And by the way, Amani's in the comments. If you have any questions for Amani, she can answer. And in addition to that, someone was asking about the convention. The convention is going to be October 16th through the 17th, or actually that weekend, the weekend of October 16th, Thursday through Sunday, in Jersey City, right next to Brooklyn and Manhattan. And it's going to be at the Hyatt on the Hudson. And so you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com to get your pass if you'd like to sign up for a discount. Allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, so let me type this here. These devices were used to keep slaves from gossiping. Okay. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen now. Now that this is the quickest way I can think to show it to you because it's in the book, but I want you all to see this. All right, so here, let me share my screen. This is crazy. What I didn't know that that's yet reason number 3,497 that they owe us a whole lot of reparations money. Let me show you the device they used to put on slaves' faces to keep them from gossiping. So here we go. All right, so I'm sharing my screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, go. Do you see that? Can you all see that? Let me know if you can see that. Can you see it now? Okay, someone said no. Can you see the image? Okay. All right, April and Jonathan, thank you. Yeah, so this is I think this was just kind of shocking. I mean, if you look at this, this is the metal they put on their head and their mouth so you can't talk or do anything. And then you've got these things around the neck, which that just looks terrible. I mean, it's very uncomfortable, right? You definitely can't lay down, take a nap, stuff like that. Um, this is the kind of stuff they did to us, right? And I kind of feel like it's important that this is one of the reasons why I think we should teach our own kids their history because they're not going to talk about this stuff in a public school. They're just not. They want, they want to lie to us and, or give us what they want us to know. And I think that that's highly inappropriate. And I think it's not even something I'm gonna get upset. I'm not outraged about it because I don't think it's their job to do it. I think it's our job to do it. I'm outraged that we don't take over the job. They're not qualified to teach Black history. Nobody else is except us. So here it says the gagging device was a circular iron band which protruded into the mouth and around the lower part of the slave's head. A thick piece of metal was attached that covered the tongue and prevented the slave from talking. So the metal covered the tongue and kept them from talking. Modern day soap operas and talk shows on radio and television thrive on gossip. During slavery, gossiping could be dangerous to a slave's health. So we're on page 220 of the book Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson and his website is powernomics.com. That's where you can get all of his books. Founders and builders of cities. Brick by brick, blacks built nearly every one of the nation's great cities. In many cases, blacks were the brains as well as the brawn. Many served crucial but seldom recognized roles as chief architects and designers of major cities. Free blacks helped found and build New York, LA, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Surely most people were unaware that Jean Baptiste Point du Sable, a black man, I hope I said that right. Maybe I'm supposed to say du Sable. I'm going to just keep going. A black man established the first settlement at the present day site of Chicago and operated its first trading post. Similarly, few people know that Benjamin Banneker, a black surveyor, designed the District of Columbia after being appointed by President George Washington to a three-member commission to map out the city. When Pierre Charles L'Enfant, the head of the commission, grew tired of criticisms and resigned, President Thomas Jefferson appointed Benjamin Banneker to head up and finish the mapping of the nation's capital. Today, Washington, D.C. is still considered an outstanding example of urban design. It really is. Not many people know that of the 44 original founders and developers of LA in the early 1850s, 26 were black. 26 out of 44 of the founding developers of LA were black. During the following century, nearly all the lands were either sold or taken from the original black owners. So think about this. You designed LA, so you probably own land. And a lot of them died with no land at all. The land was taken from them. During the following century, nearly all the lands were either sold or taken from the original black owners. The children and grandchildren of the remaining founding blacks inherited large blocks of land in LA. Maria Rita Valdez, the granddaughter of a black founder, owned Rancho Rodeo de Los Aguas, now known as Beverly Hills. Wow. Another black, Francisco Reyes, initially owned the entire San Fernando Valley. Did y'all hear that? Wow, a black man owned the all of San Fernando Valley. How big is? Now they got me out here googling and Chat GPT and how large? Does anybody know how large is is San Fernando Valley? And maybe we could put it in acres. Let's see. I'll let you guys know when it comes up. All right, let me keep reading. In New York City in 1644, 11 blacks received a large court-ordered grant of swampland on the edge of New Amsterdam. The area was essentially a black settlement for more than 200 years. Today, this property is known as Greenwich Village and Washington Square. It is difficult to determine exactly when blacks lost ownership of the Greenwich Village land because of the circular migration patterns of blacks and whites. San Fernando Valley is 260 square miles, or roughly 166,400 acres. Wow. I wonder what that's worth now. Let's see. We got to add that to their reparations tab. We got to San Fernando Valley, check. All of Florida, check. Greenwich Village, check. Washington Square, check. Right? Go to the Native American tribes when the 1866 Indian Treaty, go look that up. Dr. Anderson's been filing a lawsuit about that. The blacks that were enslaved by the Native American tribes had rights to that land, the reservations and casinos and all that, and he sued for that because they wrote them out of the treaty when they made the deal with the government. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get an estimate. Let's see here. All right, so let's keep going. Artifacts of hate are hot sellers. 3 decades after the end of the civil rights movement, the marquee of an old theater in Lawrence, South Carolina read, "The world's only Klan museum, the Redneck Shop." The owner, John Howard, sold Klan souvenirs to raise money for a first of its kind Klan museum he wanted to open in the theater. Photographs of cross burnings, men in hoods and white robes, including one of a KKK kiddie rally, were for sale in the store. Stacks of segregation era signs such as colored people must sit in the balcony, no dogs, Negroes, or Mexicans sold for $1 a copy. Making a play on a modern day black expression, Howard sold t shirts with a picture of a Klan hood with the lettering that says the original Boys in the Hood. Okay. Inside the store, Howard displayed a black mannequin inside a coffin with a rope around its neck. White customers openly supported the store. One white female customer who purchased the memorabilia said, "I'm not ashamed. I'm a Klan supporter because I believe in the Southern ways." The store owner was the Grand Dragon of the South Carolina KKK, and he sold photos of himself in his Klan robe. He asserted he was not a racist. He was just, quote unquote, concerned about the future of the white race. The popularity of hate artifacts was supported by a Halloween incident in Saybrook, Illinois, in October 1997. According to a Washington Post article, the local Lions Club awarded first prize in the Halloween costume contest to a 14-year-old girl dressed in a KKK robe. On the robe were swastikas and the phrases "Kill them all" and "White Power." Both the girl and the Lions Club representative indicated that there was no offense intended. Okay. All right. So let me see here. If you want an estimate of the economic value, because we got to keep the tab for the reparations, and we got to call them like bill collectors, like when can we expect payment? It's worth about between 140 billion and 170 billion dollars. So we add that to the tab. We should be nice, because white lives matter. So I would do the lower estimate. We can estimate. We'll settle for the 140 or 140 billion because we don't want to be mean here, and add that to the tab and make sure we can accept payment soon because y'all spending all kinds of crazy money sending it over to Israel and some other places. So y'all need to go ahead and pay your bills first. Pay your bills. All right. So all right, so let's go ahead and finish up. Alicia's cooking and I can smell the food and it's making me hungry. And I really enjoyed hanging out with y'all. And this is enough yelling for one night. I don't want to scare the children. But one more thing, don't forget tomorrow morning, every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, we get together for financial consciousness training. If you'd like to join us, just text the word morning to the number 87948. So text morning to 87948, and I'll send you a link and an invitation. Also, don't forget the 2026 Black Wealth calendars are available. If you want to take a look at the calendar or the calendar bundle, it comes with a digital class and some other items that can help you in your financial literacy journal. You can go to blackwealthcalendar.com. That's blackwealthcalendar.com. And of course, the convention, the URL for that to get your passes. The convention is going to be a hoot. It's going to be the best, biggest, and best ever. You saw last year. Last year was just completely off the chain. It was Malik Yoba popped up and he just walked into the lobby and I brought him up on stage to hang out with me and Rizza Islam and some other people. And we had experts in every area. Chris Broussard, who's on Fox Sports every morning, he spoke there. He did a great job. And we just had like probably the largest gathering of black experts concerned for the black community that I've ever seen anywhere. And I really was excited about it. And the focus is our people. The focus is on our children, our families, our community in solving problems. And so wealth is a part of the convention. So if that's your jam, then we had stock options and stock market stuff and real estate, all that. But then if you're not into the wealth thing and you're into black families, well, we've got experts on families. For example, one of the speakers at one of the conventions was Dr. Mary Stoddard, who was the daughter of a sharecropper who raised, I think, 17 kids. All 17 of them went to college. And then she married Dr. Marcus Stoddard, and they have five children. Five children. All five of those children are medical doctors and PhDs at a very high level. And so Mary was to me a person that I felt should be lecturing the entire community because this lady has figured out the formula. Everybody talks about how hard it is to educate black kids and how hard it is for black people to get out the struggle. Well, the reason they can't get out the struggle is because you're listening to the wrong people. You're taking advice from the wrong models. You're committing yourself to the wrong solution. there are people in our community who have figured it out. And it ain't because they got lucky or got blessed. It's because they sat down and said, how do I really make my life into what I need it to be and do what I want, do right, what's right by my family. Mary Stoddard's one of those people. You should look up Dr. Mary Stoddard. She has a law degree and she has a PhD. All of her children are doctors. Her husband, Marcus, is one of the leading cardiologists, I believe, in the entire United States. These are the types of people we bring in. I don't care about flashy celebrities. In fact, give you an example. In 2022, Kanye West called and talked to me for 12 hours during the convention and wanted to know more of what we were doing. And he wanted to come in, and I just didn't even know, I didn't feel comfortable with that because I felt like it was going to be a distraction and very disruptive. And I'm glad he didn't fly in. He was texting me all day saying, "Okay, where's it going to be? I'm getting the jet ready." I'm like, "Oh God, what's this going to look like?" Because if you're going to bring the intelligent capable version of yourself that's going to actually add value somehow, maybe some resources to help us get this thing done, that's great. But if you're bringing attention grabbing, immature shenanigans that are very self serving, there's no place for that. We got enough arrogant Negroes in our community. We need some leaders. We need some people that want to sit at the grown folks table, make a plan, solve a problem, work together, and get things done. So at that same convention, there was another guy there that I thought was appropriate. Larry Miller, the former CEO of the Air Jordan brand. He figured out how to turn Michael Jordan's $300 million shoe line into a $3 billion shoe line. Black people need to hear from him. And it was great that he has a great story as well. Larry Miller's story is awesome. This brother went to prison when he was 16 for he killed somebody. He killed somebody when he was 16 and he kept it a secret for years. What happened was he got lucky. His criminal record didn't show up when he applied for jobs. And he was really good at his job. And so like a lot of people, he made a mistake when he was a kid, but that stays with you for life, right? So Larry, for whatever reason, it didn't show up. So he ends up getting a sales job here, another job there. They're promoting him because he was really competent and good at what he did. Next thing you know, he's a vice president of the Portland Trailblazers. And then he becomes the CEO of the Jordan brand. The whole time he had to deal with the fear that people were going to find out, about his past. And it kept him up at night. It stressed him out. And then I think around retirement, he finally said, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell my story and be honest about what happened, because I don't care at this point." By this time, he's filthy rich and he's doing quite well. And he's really done a lot to help us to reconsider how we think about incarceration. What does it mean to pay your debt to society? And realizing a lot of these young people that get in trouble young, many of them are tremendous assets for the community and they can be reintegrated. Like there's lost wealth. When you lose people, you lose wealth, right? So this human capital for these amazing people should be something that becomes an asset to the community, but there has to be a process. It cannot be impeded or distracted by bad culture. This crazy stuff going on in hip hop culture, all the killing, all the anti-black behavior, the whole idea that we're hypnotized and addicted to working for white people, massive amounts of consumption, sexual irresponsibility, all these things have to be confronted, not in a judgmental way, but in a constructive way, so we get our best and brightest, smartest, baddest, most extraordinary black people together and say, we got this, we're going to fix this. So Larry Miller, I was happy he was at the convention. I didn't know if I wanted Kanye at the convention. So we don't care how famous you are. I don't care if white people put you on TV. I want to know, did you find a solution and is it working and can you share that so that we can figure out how to make this thing work, right? How do we create a solid family? How do we, so all that's what happens at the convention. So if you're in that mindset, if that's how you think, bring your kids, bring your wife, your girlfriend, baby mama, baby daddy, cousins, just as long as they understand what the assignment is. And we have tracks for children. We have the children's track for kids under 14. Then we have the young person's track for everybody that's say 35 and under, or 33 and under. That's young, black, and rich. And then we have grown and sexy, the grown and sexy crowd. Older folks that have figured some things out, that are trying to build some generational wealth. We got stuff for everybody, and we've done a good job with that. I'm very proud of what we've done with this convention. So if you want to join us, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And also there, you can be a vendor if you have a business you want to vend. And also if you want to be a sponsor, I will text out a link for those who want to get advertising at the convention. If you have a business that's in alignment, then we can advertise you on this platform and also at the convention as well. So feel free to make sure you're on our text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948, and I'll send out a link for anybody that wants to do that. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out. It was fun, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, actually.